What's good, y'all, man? Welcome to the Radiant Thoughts Podcast. It is me, your host, KP, or Kente, whatever you like to call me, man. And welcome to the very first episode of Radiant Thoughts. I need like a little clap thing or something, like press the button, everybody start clapping. Whatever, audience. Nah. But welcome to the first episode, man. This episode is called The Genesis. The Genesis, like the first book in the Bible, Genesis, like Nas' first song, the intro song, the Genesis, you know what I'm saying? So this episode is the Genesis, man. We're gonna address the foundation of Radiant Thoughts, what Radiant Thoughts is to me, my Genesis, and topics and what to expect throughout the entirety of the podcast, you know what I'm saying? So guess we will start off with who am I? So for those that don't know me, let's say that. For those that don't know me, I am Kente Parker. You can call me KP. Born and raised Saginaw, Michigan. And grew up a hooper, and I'm still like that. For everybody that's wondering, I ain't hooped in a minute, but I'm still like that. I currently, I'm a big truck driver, you know what I'm saying? So, but that's all besides the point. But that's who I am. I wanted to begin this journey this podcasting journey of Radiant Thoughts, because I started going on the journey for myself of self-improvement and spiritual journey, and everything, like the whole 9 yards. So, and I knew if I could use some help, or just if I could look for others that were talking about, in this space, then I knew other people could need help. So what I want to do with this podcast is just give my perspective on self-improvement, on different type of ideas and how to improve, or what I do to improve, books I read, or anything of that nature, and give it to you guys, the audience. Because like I said, I know if I needed it, I know other people could use it, or the information could be very valuable. So that is why I wanted to begin this journey. So many of you may be wondering what a radiant thought is, or where it came from. Really, to me, the definition I came up with is a radiant thought is an idea, story, or moment of positivity that we spread to the world. Thoughts that provide inspiration and can change lives. So where it came from was I didn't look at the sun, but I just looked at the idea of the sun. And we all know that the sun radiates energy. And it's a hub, it's one area that spreads out every which way. We always made the sun in the corner of the pictures, and they had the lines radiating off of it. Yeah, that's where I got this from. So, but with our minds and our brains, radiating the thoughts that come from within. So I want to take my thoughts, spread them in the atmosphere, essentially like how the sun is. But I wanted them to be positive thoughts, vibrant thoughts, just like the sun. So that was my interpretation of radiant thoughts and where it came from and what it's going to continue to do. So I created Radiant Thoughts to be the change that I wanted to see. Quite often, especially I know for my Saginaw listeners, we grow up seeing a lot of negativity. We see a lot of gossip. Anytime we open Instagram, Facebook, it's just gossip, or who did this and who not doing this. Or, we in a lot of other people's business instead of just minding our own or focusing on ourselves. We focus on other people's problems. And I didn't see anything. There was a few things going on that I did like and appreciate, but I didn't see many things, as opposed to seeing a bunch of negativity, which we all know we see on the daily basis is only negativity that gets promoted. That's throughout the world, though. So I want to step in and create a platform that can illuminate, the power of positivity and display others that are doing the same thing, and just show that you can have a brighter mindset, and it's okay to have a brighter mindset, because a lot of times that's looked down upon and frowned upon instead of being the thing that's actually uplifted in our societies. So I want to be the change that I wanted to see. What you can expect to see from me on Radiant Thoughts is a weekly conversation. I want to get on here every week and just talk with you guys, and try to be as inspirational as possible. Hopefully, people take from these episodes and are able to change their lives. That's my goal. You can expect to see guests. I want to have different guests on in different aspects of life, from the businessman to the rappers. I want the whole 9 yards. Not saying businessmen can't be rappers, but you get what I'm saying. Two different spectrums. But those are my plans. I just want to spread positivity. That's what you can expect. All positive, good vibes. You're never gonna hear no gossip from me on here, or gossip in general from me. You're just not gonna see it. I also want to discuss different topics along the line of self-improvement, topics like gratitude and how gratitude, just showing gratitude, can help change you and your surroundings. Mindfulness stuff, because a lot of people are not mindful of the things that they do, and creating that mindfulness is a great technique to have, or not technique, a great skill to have. Topics, we're gonna talk about books. Got my book here today, and I got segments. Speaking of books, segments that I want to do. I have one called Radiant Reading Corner, which we'll be doing today. Radiant Reading Corner will be, I'll take a quote out of the book, or quotes, depending on how I feel that day, that pertain to the topic at hand, and elaborate on them, and just have a small discussion with you guys about the book, or just anything, or just the discussion on what was said in the book and how it pertains to our topic of the episode. And sometimes not even how it pertains to the topic of the episode. It might just be how I'm feeling that day, So, yeah, and then I have another segment. I got plenty of segments that I came up with, so don't just think that you're my only two. And don't steal my segments. But I got a segment called Bright Ideas Roundtable. Now, I know this ain't a round table, so don't come at me. But where more likely this will happen when I have a guest on the show, and we would just throw ideas out there that are bright ideas to each other. You have roundtable discussions where we just spew conversation back and forth onto each other, but I want them to be bright ideas, things that can help change society or help change somebody's mind, that can be inspirational to viewers or even the person that I'm sitting at the table with potentially. Just different things and different strategies or whatever that can help be progressive for the culture, be progressive for society, be progressive for anybody that's watching. So, like I said, with this show, I want people to be able to take away tangible things and go apply them to their day-to-day life and help change their lives. So, speaking of segments, like I said, I have the segment Radiant Reading Corner, which I would like to get into. And like I told you guys, today's episode is the Genesis, the very start. So, the book I'm reading is The Four Agreements. Sound like I said Four Agreements. The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. I read it before, and I wasn't in the space where I am now to really recollect and take the things from the book and apply them to my life. So I had to come back and reread it, and it's been that much greater since I reread it. But the quote that I got from here that I would like to share with you all is, when you become impeccable with your word, your mind is no longer fertile ground for words that come from black magic. Instead, it is fertile from words that come from love. You can measure the impeccability of your word by your level of self-love. So, that being said, being impeccable with your word is being intentional with what you say and how you move on what you say. We know the tongue has power, and what you say can come into fruition, whether it's good or bad. And with that excerpt, how I took that to apply it to the Genesis is, from the start, be impeccable with your word. And when he says black magic meaning like gossip, talking about somebody, talking about yourself. That's a big one. Talking about yourself. Anything that's harming to others is the black magic that he's speaking on, to where you want to be intentional with lifting. Be impeccable with your word as if like, no, this is all positive. There's times where you might mishap and not be impeccable with your word. It's a working process. Every day you got to chop the wood. Pause. Pause. Nah, but this podcast ain't just always gonna be straightforward, man. We gotta have little jokes here and there. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, what I took from that, as it pertains to the beginning, is from the start. Just from the start, be impeccable with your word, man. And like he said, it measures your self-love. So if your self-love is low, your impeccability with your word may be even lower. You might be more prone to consume gossip and spread gossip. You might be more prone to consume self-hate from others and express self-hate for yourself. And that's not the road that you want to go down. And just from starting something, your Genesis, you want to start good. You want to start honest and integrable. You don't want to be going back on your word, if that makes sense. You want to be straightforward. You want to be somebody that people can look to as like, okay, he's doing the right thing. Just from the very beginning, be you, but be impeccable with what you stand on, and continue to stand on it. Don't waver, especially if it's correct. And what I take from being impeccable with your word is, when people come to you with gossip or anything of that, nature, you put it in check. You don't allow it to keep going on. A lot of times we may feel like we're doing, like, even if somebody may come to us talking about anything that doesn't pertain to what we got going on, we might sit and listen to them, but we don't, in one ear and out the other. But it's best to not even let it in at all, So be a guardian over your brain, over your mind, your ears. Be very impeccable with your own word, what you say back to others, because it's a double-edged sword. It can hurt you, it can hurt them. And it's going to hurt you more than it hurts them, whatever you may say. You may not think that, but it will. All right, man. So let's get into it, man. Like I said, this episode is called The Genesis, and it's the start of my podcast journey. Recently, just the genesis of everything has been the start of my journey in general, my new journey, my self improvement journey, becoming a better, human for myself and for others, just for the collective. But, the genesis is the start, the beginning. And my message today for everyone watching is just to start. A lot of times we are scared to go on journeys because we might be scared of what people may think of us. We might be scared of how the outcome is going to be. We know we probably won't put in as much effort as we need to, or we don't know what is needed, so then we don't start. And like, even with this podcast, I created Radiant Thoughts little over a year ago, and just now am I starting and putting it out there to the world. But my message today is just to start. No matter where you starting from, you may start from here, you may start from here. As long as you just start, because a lot of people don't start. I read a stat. These researchers did an experiment. They did just some polls. I forget the exact numbers, but it was start a business or go skydiving. And the majority voted skydiving. And that just shows how scary it is to start a business, for one, and for two, that people just aren't ready for that. Their mindset can't wrap their minds around going through the work and the process of starting and how slow it may be, and people can't wrap their minds around that, and so they shy away from it. They get scared, they run away, they come up with excuses of why they haven't started, or oh, this came up, or all stuff like that, man. You realize, when people scared, they got 1,000 excuses, man. Don't be the ones with 1,000 excuses. I had 1,000 excuses a year ago, but now I cut out the excuses. You know what I'm saying? So cut out the excuses and just start. Baby steps are better than no steps. You got to start somewhere. Small steps, just keep your feet moving. Like I said, I played sports. So I played football, and what they tell running backs, just keep them feet moving. Just keep chopping at it, keep chopping at it. No matter how much you're chopping at it, but be consistent. That's the biggest piece. Start, but be consistent. A lot of people stop because they aren't consistent. They may, let's say a podcast, for instance. They may do the research on what they want to talk about, and then they plan on, okay, I'm gonna do research every day this week. They slip one day, it's just one day, and they slip 2 days. I'm gonna go back to it, and then they go do it the next day. But you're not consistent. If you set a consistent standard of what you're gonna do each day, that will help your start. If I'm gonna research every day at 3 p.m. for 10 minutes, and you do that every day at 3 p.m. for 10 minutes, you're being consistent, more likely to get stuff done. If you're taking gaps and taking breaks, and it's gonna be harder for you to just start. It's gonna be hard to start. It's gonna be hard to get it off the ground. So just start, though. No matter where you're starting at, just start. Begin and keep going. Don't be scared to begin, because if you don't start, nothing would ever happen. And that's another thing. We won't change, but don't want to do nothing that's gonna bring the change. And so instead of just starting, we don't start, but then complain about what hasn't happened because you haven't put in the work. The work is the work for a reason. You got to do the work to get results. Results don't just pop up. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be willing to put in that work every day to get the results, but you have to start. That's gonna be the key thing for today. Just start. And for me, just starting affected me like positively. You know, I'm a type of person, like when I start, I don't necessarily just want to quit. Starting this and starting, posting, and on Instagram I do my morning momentums, like morning motivation every single morning, and just starting that. When it's something that you love, you don't want to quit doing it. And so that has helped me, I don't like extremely, because being consistent at something and starting it, it makes you feel good. At least it makes me feel good. So I know others probably can experience that same type of feeling if you just start. It's a different joy. It's a different joy in just knowing that you took that step and you keep taking that step and you keep making strides, and you start to see progression and other people notice, and it's a great feeling. And that's how I've been since starting my, self-improvement journey for myself. Other people start noticing, you start noticing things yourself when you become very intentional, like being impeccable with your word. You just become intentional with whatever boundaries that you set for yourself during your self-improvement journey. And when others start to notice, that's when it feels good. So just when you start, start for yourself first and foremost. Don't start for other people to notice. But when you do start experiencing those things, it helps. It feels good. You notice that people are noticing you, noticing what you're doing. No matter what it is, if you starting to be a rapper, you starting to sell clothes or whatever it is, just starting, the feeling that I got from it, I know others probably can attest and feel the same exact way. Just start, man. Just start. It's gonna be rocky. It's gonna be hard. Nothing comes easy. Like I say, if it come easy, it's no good. You know what I'm saying? So just start. Just begin. That's all I can say. Just begin. And when you begin, never end. That's the thing. Once you start, you can't stop, though. You can't stop. You got to be committed to the journey, committed to the process. Be consistent. Got to be consistent. So when you start, can't stop. Keep going. You got to keep going. Got to keep making strides and keep pushing no matter what it is, man. No matter what it is. That's the mission that I've been on. And I know that will help others. Some practical ways that you could just start, and begin your journey is your daily habits, the things we do on the daily. So I have this saying that I came up with called "Our habits, the habits you build today create the lifestyle you live tomorrow." With that being said, I kind of cut it down to just habits build lifestyle. But that's legit. The things that you do every single day, day in, day out, will affect you. It's on the smallest level to help you start. So if you want to start reading, I read Atomic Habits. So what I got from Atomic Habits were ways to order, those steps. And say you want to just read more. Every day you wake up, if you get up, go brush your teeth, and before you go to work or something, if you want to read at night, before you go to work, place your book on your pillow. So that lets you know when you get home and it's time to jump in that bed, or when you come in your room, you see the book on your pillow, and either you're going to have to move it to get in the bed, or you're going to see it and start reading it. And, another example is if you want to just say make time for yourself, write out a schedule for yourself and stick to it. If you want to start having you time, or me time, write out your schedule, block off a particular time that's solely for you, and just abide by it. Those are just like some things on a smaller level that you could do to actually start something, whatever it is. It's a lot of different areas. For me with this podcast, starting was just every day I did some form of research or some form of talking or looking at topics that I want to address or just outlining every single day. It could have been the littlest thing, but I constantly worked at it, constantly chopped at it, and here we are today. So to start, man, you just have to do something. Just do something. It's as simple as that. But when you create a habit of doing it, that's when it becomes locked in, But when you start, just start. Just start and don't quit. Start and don't quit. That's my message for y'all today. So, in closing, you can be whatever you want to be, but you can't be it if you don't start. As simple as that. You can't be it if you don't start. Just begin. Start your journey, man. Like I said, man, it's your boy KP. You can follow me on IG at Radiant Thoughts _ on YouTube at Radiant. Oh, y'all on YouTube with me. But like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube, man. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Share this, put this out there for the whole world to see. I look forward to continuing to radiate the world with my thoughts. And also, I want listener feedback. So that's another thing. I got another segment on the show called Listener's Light, which I want to take feedback or advice or anything that people watching may have and want to put on the show. You can send it to me, DM it to me or whatever, and I would like to put it out there, or we can put it on the show and we can have a conversation around it. So you can do that. Like I said, my Instagram is at Radiant Thoughts _ So go follow me, man. Share my stuff too. I do my morning momentums on there every single morning, 7:00 a.m. Eastern time. Don't miss a day. I don't miss a day. It might be late sometimes because Instagram be tripping on me, man. They don't be wanting to. I've been scheduling my posts. They don't want to post them and stuff. You know what I'm talking about? I don't know why, but it go in there and it get handled. You know what I'm saying? So, because I got people that want to see me. That's that consistency, y'all. Just start. It's that consistency. You feel me? But yeah, man. So, like I said, like, comment, subscribe, share this out, man. Tell a friend to tell a friend. And we're going to keep going on this journey, man. So I appreciate y'all for watching and tuning in. Please keep tuning in with me as I radiate these positive thoughts onto you, man. So peace.